There is breaking news now that Paramount has settled its legal case with Donald Trump. Does this mean now that the merger can go ahead? And what does that mean for things like Star Trek? Welcome to the Tachyon podcast.
Our Tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
So, as you probably are aware, Donald Trump was suing Paramount and CBS for $20 billion following the 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris. They said that that interview was edited to favour Kamala Harris, particularly after one question where she answered so badly that it was felt that editing her answer made her look better. Now, Paramount and CBS always said that it was their First Amendment right to do so, and that basically there was no legal case. Now, it has been announced at midnight, just gone, in America, so only a few hours ago to be fair here in the UK, that Paramount have settled, and the settlement was $16 million. Now, they actually did offer $15 million a little while ago, but that was rejected. Apparently, Donald Trump's team were holding out for $25 million, and most importantly, an apology. Now, CBS, 60 Minutes, Paramount, whoever's made this decision, have re-offered $16 million and said that in future, whenever they do this type of interview, particularly with presidential candidates or a president, they will then release the transcript of the interview in full following the interview's release. Any redactions will be because of national security reasons or privacy. So, does this mean now that the merger can go ahead? Well, Paramount have been very clear that this payment has nothing to do with the merger. It is a completely separate deal, and it is only related to this legal action. Why are they being so specific about that? Because several organisations, and actually people within CBS themselves, have stated clearly that if this payment was made, that they would start legal action in regards to bribery. And they would actually state that this is Paramount bribing the Donald Trump administration to grease the wheels, let's say, of the merger. You could also argue that this is actually Donald Trump extorting Paramount, because the merger has just stopped. The FCC, the Federal Communication Commission that are managing this, are not working on it at all. It's not just that it's slow going through the process, they've stopped the process. So it will be very interesting to see now, following this legal action coming to an end, whether the FCC will pick that baton back up and start working on the merger. I actually think if we get some sort of announcement within the next few weeks, that will raise eyebrows. The other issue is actually that SKYDANCE merger with Paramount was supposed to be done by now. It was supposed to be done in the first 6 months of the year. And Paramount and SKYDANCE have actually had to trigger a 90-day extension to the merger agreement. So if this actually isn't done within the next 8 weeks or so, it does put the merger at risk. But, as I say, this does have an impact on things like Star Trek. Why? As you guys know, if you're a regular viewer to the Tachyon Pulse, the deal to renew Star Trek with Secret Hideout and Alex Kurtzman is due to expire in the summer of next year. I'm being told it's August, but I've been told a couple of different dates. It seems to be June, July, August time that the deal is supposed to be renewed, or it will end. Now, I have actually told you guys that SKYDANCE have made it known to Alex Kurtzman that it is actually quite unlikely that the deal will be renewed, or at very least they need to prepare for the fact that it might not be renewed. So now, say the merger actually goes through by August this year, and let's say that the SKYDANCE deal has to be renewed in August next year. Let's go with the latter date, the date that I've heard most, to be honest. Then that would give SKYDANCE 12 months to make a decision. Now, I mentioned 12 months because the last time this deal was extended, 5 years ago basically, It took 12 months to negotiate that contract and that extension. And I'm being told that it will probably take about that long to do again. Because if Skydance do decide to give Secret Hideout a new deal, they don't want it to be quite as preferable towards Skydance as the current deal. In the current deal, Skydance have virtual control over Star Trek. They can even, if Paramount Plus don't pick up a TV show, choose to sell it to other providers. That's an unusual thing to have within this type of deal. They also have virtually total creative control over the show. And Paramount, if they don't like what's being made, can't really do anything about it. There can be no pressure on a level from sort of Paramount to change things within Star Trek. And I promise you, from what I've been told, about a year ago, before there was massive redundancies in Paramount, particularly at higher level, there were voices on the board of Paramount that didn't like what Secret Hideout was doing with Star Trek. They wanted it to be simplified from a timeline point of view. They only wanted really one, maybe two timelines, and they felt that sort of Discovery and then Lower Decks was a different timeline, Picard was within a different timeline, etc. And you could argue actually that Discovery and Strange New Worlds are a completely different sort of universe, a Kurtzman-verse, and separate from Enterprise, TNG, etc., etc. It basically, and the argument was from those top bosses, that it was too complicated, and hardcore fans could keep up with what was going on, but sort of the bulk of fans, the 70% of fans that enjoy the show, watch the show, etc., but, you know, don't quite follow it as closely as the Trekkies, the hardcore fans, they were finding it more and more complicated to follow and turning off. So basically what they were arguing at the high level of Paramount was that for the non-hardcore fans that make up the biggest percentage of fans, if it was more simplified, it wouldn't turn them off. And they could come in and out of the show without having to sort of basically make notes and try to figure out when it was set, etc., etc. I would actually argue Star Wars has a similar problem, but they have a larger hardcore fan base than Star Trek does. So, the next few weeks are going to be very interesting. If all of a sudden the FCC free up the merger and it starts moving forwards, there are going to be a lot of people asking the question that even though Paramount says these two things aren't connected, it looks like they are. And if so, that is going to result in further legal action. Legal action that is actually already happening for Disney and a couple of other major organisations that paid similar deals to Trump early on in his administration to settle legal actions. So, this may drag on in the court for some time, but at least for Paramount and Skydance, it looks like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But it needs to happen quite quickly, or this deal could actually collapse. And that will be a major problem, not just for Star Trek, but for Paramount as a whole, because the current deal with Skydance includes a massive injection of around $8 billion into the business to lower the current debt level. Without that injection, the current debt level is considered to be unsustainable, and actually the stock is currently described as junk status. So, without this deal, Paramount is going to see major financial problems. Could it be the end of Paramount in at least its current existence? Very possibly. But guys, get into the comments, tell me what you think. I know there are massive supporters of Trump out there that say that, hey, he deserves what he gets. CBS acted very, very badly. Or do you lean more towards, look, this looks like extortion, and if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and see a lot of these videos before everybody else. Go check that out. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.